In this video, I want to go over what you can do if you're not getting a lot of playing time right now as an athlete. Hey there, I'm Eli Strawman, a performance coach and the founder of SuccessStartsWithin.com. Not getting a lot of playing time is one of the main drivers of putting pressure on yourself, pressing, and trying to force good performances. And the reason is because when you get out there, right, when you do get your shot, when you do get that playing time, it feels as though you have to make the most of it. And because you have to make the most of it, you start to press, you start to try to force yourself to play good so that you can prove to coach that you belong out there. But what's the problem with this? Well, the problem is when you try to press and force a good performance, that typically leads to stiff play, and it definitely does not lead to natural and free play, which is typically what causes you to perform your best. So what can you do if right now you're not getting a lot of playing time and you need to go out there and play your best when you get your chance? Well, the first place we need to look is we need to look at how you are viewing the situation in general. Specifically, we need to think about what is your attention focused on. For example, I was talking to a basketball player yesterday. He's a high school basketball player, and we've been working together throughout this season. And one of the things that he's been struggling with is a lack of playing time. He's been playing decent minutes, but he's one of the better players on the team. Unfortunately, his position is taken by a senior. So there's a senior that's playing in front of him. The senior is pretty good, and he's been there for a while, right? He's been a starter for a while. And so this junior who I'm working with is not getting as much playing time as he would like because there's a senior ahead of him. When he does get into the game right now, he's finding himself trying to force shots, trying to force himself to play well because he wants to show coach that he deserves more playing time. He should be out there. Even if the senior's out there, he should be out there in another position. But that's honestly not the plan that the coach has for the team right now. And so it's been very tough for him to just accept this role, right? Accept the fact that he's not going to be getting a ton more playing time. And, when he does go out there, just enjoy the game instead of trying to force himself to play well. The reason that I'm sharing this example is because it illustrates an overarching approach or focus that we need to be taking if we currently aren't getting a lot of playing time. And that approach is that, strangely enough, we don't want to focus on playing time. And this is something that I've seen work and help for athletes in any, no matter what sport. So any different sport, it's going to help you because when you're not getting the playing time that you want, if your sole focus is on getting more playing time, every single minute that you get or every single inning you get will be amplified, right? So it's going to be amplified to where you're thinking, I have to make the most of this opportunity. Maybe that's true. But the majority of the time, when you think I have to make the most of this opportunity, unless that causes you to focus even harder and play even harder, it will only be a distraction. It will be a distraction from you being able to go out there and play naturally, play freely, and play your best. So when we're dealing with a lack of playing time initially, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we are focusing on enjoying the game and playing our best, not proving ourselves to coach. So what's the difference between playing your best and proving yourself to coach? Because if you want to prove yourself to coach, you're going to be focused on playing your best, right? Well, when you're thinking about proving yourself to coach, it's very easy for this to turn into a fear of making mistakes, right? Because if I want to show coach what I can do, I'm also thinking, okay, I don't want to make a lot of mistakes because then coach will think that I'm not a good player and then he'll pull me from the game. So I have to tiptoe around and I have to make sure that I play perfectly. Well, that's not a mindset that will lead to you playing your best. On the other hand, if you're focused on playing your best and you're not really worried about, whether you get more playing time or not, you're not really worried about what coach is thinking of you. You're just focused on playing your best and doing your job out there. Well, then you're going to focus on what you need to do to play your best, which means you'll focus on the controllable parts of your game instead of focusing on things like the results and what coach is thinking of you. So really, this is a mindset shift that we're wanting to make. Yes, it's frustrating. Yes, you want to get more playing time, but no, you cannot control it. And since you can't control it, it's not something that we want to have filling our minds and occupying our mental energy. We want to focus instead on going out there, playing our best, and enjoying the game when we do get our minutes, right? When we do get that opportunity. Now, another tip that I have for you comes from another athlete that I've been working with right now. She's also a basketball player. Just turns out, it's the winter right now, so I'm working with a lot of basketball players. And she's been dealing with the same thing, except she's been dealing with comparing herself to her teammate who plays over her or who plays instead of her when she's not playing at that point. Now, the reason that she's not playing right now and she's not getting as much playing time as she would like is because she's coming off of a sickness, right? So she was sick, and now she's not going to get as much playing time due to that sickness. While she's not getting the playing time that she wants, so she's sitting on the bench because coach is just slowly easing her back in, she's worrying so much about what her teammate is doing, right? She's worrying about how many points her teammate has. She's worried about whether or not her teammate goes in the game and scores right off the bat, because now she's on a hot streak and she knows coach won't pull her. So her focus is on her teammate and how well her teammate is playing while she's on the bench and her teammate is playing. And so what I've talked to her about is trying to let go of that comparison. And we have to do this, no matter what we're dealing with within our sport, right? We really have to work on letting go of comparison, but especially if you're not getting playing time or as much playing time as you'd like right now, and you see somebody else playing over you, we have to let go of this comparison, because all it is doing is causing us to, number one, kind of think in an unhelpful way about our teammate, where we're almost hoping that our teammate won't succeed, but we're also wasting a very valuable opportunity. And this is what I was talking to the athlete about. I was telling her that, if she's on the bench and her teammate is playing well, try to learn something from her, right? If she's playing your position while you're on the bench, try to watch the defense and see how the defense is guarding her, right? See how she's playing defense on the other end and how the offense is working. You could be learning so much to where it's putting you in a better position to succeed when you get back out there. But she's not learning what she needs to learn if her mind is preoccupied with thoughts of comparison and worry and wonder of whether or not this girl's going to play well or she's not going to play well. So if you're not getting playing time right now, or as much playing time as you would like, and there's somebody playing over you, don't worry about how they're playing. Try to learn something from them. Don't focus on, the hot streak that they're on. Try to focus on the other team. Think about how the other team is playing. Even if you're not going to get into the game that day, you can still become a better player because of what you learn, and you become a smarter player because you're making use of the time that you're on the sidelines instead of using that time and wasting that time by comparing yourself to your teammates. So first thing we want to do is we want to make that mindset shift, right? We don't want to be worried so much about proving yourself to coach and trying to, quote unquote, make the most of your opportunities. You want to just go out there and have fun and play your best, which means focusing on what you can control about playing your best when you do get your chance. And then when you're on the sideline, right, when you're on the bench, don't compare yourself to your teammates, especially the ones who are playing over you. Be happy for them, cheer for them, and try to learn something from them, and try to learn something about the other team, so maybe you can help your teammates, or you'll be able to help yourself when you do get back out there. And the third tip that I want to share is that when you're practicing, you don't want to worry so much about playing perfectly in practice. And this is something that I see in so many different athletes, because if you're not getting the playing time that you want, especially if you're not really getting any playing time at all, practice is the time to prove to coach that you should be getting more playing time. And that's true, right? I mean, coach is looking to practice to see if you should get more playing time or whatnot. But unfortunately, if you think that way, you aren't giving yourself the opportunity to improve. And it's not performing perfectly in practice that will get you more playing time. It's improving and becoming a better player, because when you improve and become a better player, naturally you'll end up doing better in practice. And then when you do get that chance to go out there and play in a game, you'll do better in the game. But when we're so caught up thinking about how we're doing in practice, how I need to play perfectly in practice, I have to play better than this other person in practice so that I can get more playing time, when that's what we're focused on, and it doesn't lead us to focus on what we can control. Just like I said with, wanting to prove yourself to coach when you're playing the game. It's unhelpful unless it causes you to focus harder on what you can control and play harder. If it's not doing that during practice, it's just a distraction. Especially if you're struggling to move past mistakes during practice because you're expecting yourself to be perfectly, and then you get down on yourself when you're not. If you are going into practice afraid of making mistakes because, once again, you need to play perfectly during practice, that will be extremely unhelpful for you as well. So what should you be doing during practice? Well, simply put, you should be trying to get better, trying to improve. That doesn't mean trying to be perfect. When we're wanting to improve, we know that we will make mistakes, but we take a learning approach to mistakes. So if you mess up during practice, you don't beat yourself up thinking, well, now I'm never going to get playing time because coach just saw me mess up. You'll think, okay, well, why did I make that mistake, and how can I learn from it? If you do this, if you take this approach, you will get better, and you put yourself in a better position to get more playing time without putting that unnecessary stress on yourself to perform perfectly during practice. The overarching idea that we want to be taking when it comes to getting more playing time is recognizing that playing time is something that is out of our control as an athlete. It's one of the main things that is out of our control, but it's one of the main things that we tend to focus on. But when we focus on things that are out of our control within our game, this leads to fear, it leads to anxiety, it leads to pressing, and it leads to underperforming. What you want to make sure you're doing is focusing on what you can control to play your best, focusing on what you can control to improve during practice, not thinking and trying to read into what coach is thinking and why coach isn't playing you. You don't want to read into why your teammate's playing over you. That is all just a waste of energy because you're not really going to get to the bottom of it, right? Beyond talking to coach and asking coach, what you can, or asking coach what you can work on in order to get more playing time, there's not a whole lot that you can do in terms of influencing playing time. And if you do have a conversation with coach, I think that's a great idea. But once you have that conversation with your coach and your coach gives you the idea of what you need to work on, don't keep asking them. Don't keep worrying about it. Focus on what you need to do to get better. But again, don't press. You don't have to be perfect. Just focus on improvement. So I know that, dealing with playing time is one of the most frustrating things for you to have to go through as an athlete because I see it in so many of the different athletes that I work with in one-on-one coaching. So I encourage you to apply the tools and apply the tips that I've talked about here today. Now, if you are interested in learning more about the one-on-one coaching I offer, especially if you are struggling with anxiety or fear or feeling like you have to be perfect because of a lack of playing time, I've put a link in the description below, so go ahead and click on that to learn more. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I put out new videos each week on sports psychology and mental training. And if you're interested in any of the online programs I have available, I've put links to those in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I wish you the best of success in all that you do.